Welcome students to this session of JCE Connect, wherein we are starting with the fifth module. Fifth module, in this fifth module, we have a lot of parts, right? So the part one of the module 5 is modern surveying instruments. And this is not the entire module. This is just the first part of your module 5, wherein we will learn regarding modern surveying instruments. Okay, so then second part of this module 5 is remote sensing, and the third part of your module 5 is GIS, right? Geographic Information System. So that is your third part of your fifth module. So today or now we shall start with the first part, that is modern surveying instruments. Okay, so can anyone tell me what is the instrument that you see on your screen? Name of that instrument. Very commonly used in surveying nowadays. Very advanced instrument. Quickly you have to tell me what is the name of that instrument. I hope you know the name of that instrument.
Total station.
Correct, very good. So it is called the total station, right? It is a total station wherein you can do a lot of things using this total station. You can measure distances, you can measure vertical distances, horizontal distances, you can measure angles, right? Vertical angle, horizontal angle, right? And you can also calculate or measure areas, right? Measure areas, or you can also set out areas, right? You want to set, you have a plan with you, AutoCAD plan. If you want to set that AutoCAD plan in your site, then that can also be done using this total station. So this is an example of a modern surveying instrument wherein I have told you this instrument can do a lot of work, right? So it is a combination of an electronic theodolite and a distance measuring instrument, right? So we shall learn regarding this in detail later on. Okay, so before we get into these instruments, we shall learn the principles on what they work, right? So we have learned regarding theodolite, tachometry, all those things, all those principles are applied, and making use of those principles, we built these modern instruments which do the calculation for us directly and give the answer, right? So getting into the first part. Okay, so what are these two person doing at the bottom? You can see two persons are doing they are doing some purpose, right? What are they doing exactly over here in the bottom figure? What are they doing? Right, you can see an image. Can tell me what they are doing.
In alignment.
They are doing some line work, right? They are doing some line work. They are measuring some distance. You can see one person or the backman here as the front end of the tape over here, and the front man here. You can see he is measuring the distance, and he is noting it down, right? Here you can see the distance. So and here also in the top image you can see they are transferring the vertical distance, or they are measuring the vertical distance or the vertical height between 2 points A and B. Vertical distance or the vertical height between these 2 points. Okay, also the horizontal distance. This guy is checking whether the line is level, and also he can measure the distance, horizontal distance and the vertical distance, using a plumb bob, right? So what are these methods called as? These methods are called as direct measurements, right? Direct distance measurements, wherein what we do, we directly go and we use chain, we use tape, and we directly measure the distance, right? Any 2 points or any length of a line or any distance, what we do, we directly measure using chain and tape. So that is the first type of measuring distances, that is direct distance measuring, direct distance measuring, DDM. Okay, so first type, I hope you have understood that it is direct distance measurement. Coming to the second point. Okay, so before I show you, can you tell me what can be the second type of distance measuring? So first one is direct distance measurement. What is the second type? What type of distance measurement can we go for? Okay, so you can say indirect or instead of indirect, what we will say is we shall say optical distance measurement. Optical distance measurement, wherein we use optics, right? Wherein we use optics, like you use a dumpy level, you use a theodolite, right? Wherein it has lenses, right? Optics it has. So optical distance measurement, wherein we use theodolite measurements taken from theodolites and measurement taken from dumpy level, and indirectly what we do, we calculate the distances. Indirectly we calculate, right? So optical distance measurement is the second type. Here you can see an image of a theodolite, right? This is a theodolite image you can see, which has lenses, right? A lens over here and a lens over here. So optical help we take, and we take distances, sorry, we take measurements, and then we use trigonometric principles, right? We apply tachometric principles, you have learned, right? Tachometry, stadia measurements we take, and then we convert and we compute the distance indirectly using some formulas, right? So the second type is called as optical distance measurement, optical distance measurement, ODM. Okay, so here you can see we have a theodolite set over here, theodolite, and we have a leveling stuff, right? You have learned regarding this stadia interval and how you do tachometric measurements, and tachometry how you apply and you measure the horizontal distance as well as vertical distance, right? So this is by the help of optics. So this method is called as optical distance measurement, optical distance measurement. So this is your second type. Okay, coming to the third, which I had shown you, in the first image, that is your electronic distance measurement, third one. Okay, electronic distance measurement. It is not the EDM which you refer in your music, right? It is electronic distance measurement in terms of survey. Okay. So here in this image, you can see we have a total station set over here. And what this total station does is it takes these measurements. You can directly take the measurement. You cite this particular point B, right? And you press a button and it takes the reading. Similarly, then what you do, you move your line of sight, you bisect this particular point A, and you press the button and take the measurement. So by this, what you can do is it will give you the height of this particular house, right? It can give you the height, it can give you this angle, vertical angle, it can give you also, if you want, you can measure the horizontal angle also, right? You can take one more measurement like here, and then this horizontal angle can be also measured, right? So various operations can be done using this total station, right? So wherein what we are doing, we are making use of electromagnetic waves. Electromagnetic waves are used, which are transmitted over here. These red lines which you see are nothing but electromagnetic waves. So those are sent and those are received by the total station, and they are used to calculate the distances, right? So this is electromagnetic distance measurement, wherein an example of this is geodemeter, tellurimeter, and distometer, right? So if you remember, all these things I have taught in the previous semester, in the third semester for your B division, if you remember, right? Anyone from the lateral entry students, any student, if you remember, have a thought or not regarding these things? Right, the same thing is there for your fourth semester also. Part of that is there, so we shall cover this. It is nothing but a revision of your third semester fifth module. Okay. So geodemeter, tellurimeter, and distomat are example of the third type of distance measuring, that is EDM, electromagnetic distance measuring. Okay. So here you can see in EDM, just a basic idea I'm giving you. Here you can see we have an electronic distance measuring instrument. It will send this electromagnetic wave like this, and here we have placed a reflector that will reflect back the wave, and it will again be received by the instrument, right? So this is the basic idea of how your EDM works, right? Electromagnetic distance measuring instrument works, right? It measures the time, it measures the phase difference, and it calculates the length, right? Whether it is length or it is angle, it will calculate based on the phase difference and based on the time interval taken by the wave to go to and come back, right? So this is the basic idea. Coming to this is an image showing you geode meter. Geode meter, it is an old instrument, right? Geode meter, and these are not used nowadays. Nowadays, we only go for total station, right? So this is an example of an electronic distance measuring instrument, geode meter. Okay, looks very similar to a total station. Okay, coming to one more this thing. This is what is this instrument? It is not a mobile phone. It is not a mobile phone. Okay, what is this instrument? Have you seen people using this instrument anywhere? Okay, it is an electronic distance measuring instrument, electronic, very simple electronic instrument wherein it shoots laser from this point. You can see we have a button. It will shoot laser like this, and it will measure the distance between 2 points. Suppose you have a wall over here and one more wall, right? You have a room. You place your this instrument. You place over here like this. You place and you press the button. It will shoot laser, and it will tell the distance between these two walls. Very simple instrument, very convenient. It will give you, see, up to 3 decimal points accuracy. Very quick it will give you, and very accurate answer it will give you. So this is an electronic distance measuring instrument. Okay, so one instrument, let me show you. So this is this seems like a old sci-fi movie instrument, right? But this is a teleurometer. Teleurometer, very old instrument, out of use nowadays. No one uses this instrument, right? Outdated one. A teleurometer which used the radio waves, right? Radio waves it used to use, and this was mainly developed during the World War, right? So teleurometer, and this is a distance, electronic distance measuring instrument, right? And this is a teleurometer, and the previous one is a geodemeter. Okay, so these are examples of the third type, that is electronic distance measuring instruments. Okay, so I hope this part is clear, right? Just I'll list down. So first one is direct measurement done by chain or tape, right? Or a combination of those. Then optical distance measuring, wherein we use tachometry, trigonometry, and with the help of optics, right? Lenses, right? We use theodolites, dumpy levels, and other instruments. Coming to the third one, electromagnetic distance measurement, wherein we have an example of geodemeter, teleurometer, and Distomax. Right, Distomat is a company which produces Total Station. So Total Station is also an example of electronic distance measuring instrument. Okay, so can you tell me whether up till here it is clear, or whether you have understood the various methods of measuring distances? Very, very interesting topic. Right, so in the field, you will be using these instruments, right? Not the regular instruments like your theodolite and all are outdated. No one uses these days. But for some governmental works, nowadays also they use these dumpy levels and all. But auto level and all is used for transferring levels. But for any distance measuring, usually they go for these electronic ones. Okay, so I hope it is clear. So we shall move on to the next part, that is electromagnetic waves, right? Because your instrument works on these electromagnetic waves, we need to first understand what are these electromagnetic waves, right? So we have combination of two type of waves. You can see here we have electro and we have magnetic. So we have two types of waves which are combined together and used in an image. You can see here on your screen, these orange color thing you see here, the wave which you see is your electronic wave, right? Electronic wave. And the wave which is perpendicular to that in blue color, you can see this is magnetic wave. So combination of both of these is called as electromagnetic wave. Okay, so this is the direction in which the wave is propagating, and one wavelength. What is one wavelength? It is the distance measured from to crest. Okay, so let me tell you what is crest and what is trough. Okay, so here you can see we have a simple electromagnetic wave, sorry, a simple wave, okay, simple wave. Simple wave I am showing you on your screen, you can see, and this is the direction of propagation. It is going from the left to the right, okay, that is the direction of propagation. Okay, coming to the crest, okay, the top part, the topmost part of the wave is called crest. Yeah, all these points are called as crest. Here, all these points are crest point, and the bottommost part is called the trough. Okay, all these bottom parts are called the trough. Okay, so when you measure the distance between two consecutive crest, you can see here, this is called the wavelength. Or also between two troughs, you can measure the wavelength consecutive. Okay, not you cannot just measure any random, but two side by side crest or two side by side or adjacent troughs, right? So this can also be the wavelength. Okay, so usually wavelength is represented by this term called as lambda, if you remember lambda. Right, all of these I've explained previously also in your semester, third semester. This is just a revision. Okay, then coming to okay, then amplitude. What is amplitude? Here you can see amplitude is this distance. Okay, the height of this wave is the amplitude. Okay, it will be in both the direction. This is also amplitude, and this is also amplitude. Okay. So, okay, after wavelength is over, we shall learn regarding frequency. What is meant by a frequency? Okay. If you recall, what is a frequency? It is nothing but the number of waves that pass through a point in 1 second. In 1 second. Okay. So number of waves that pass through a point in a second. Okay. Suppose we consider this point. Okay, we are interested in this point, or we consider a plane. Okay, like this we consider a plane. The number of waves that pass through this particular section in 1 second, is called as a frequency, of that particular wave. Okay, in 1 second we measure for a second how many waves pass through this section. Okay, suppose we have many 1,000 waves which pass through this cross section, through this point or through this section. There are 1,000 waves which pass in 1 second. Okay, so what is how do we write it? We write it in cycles per second, or one more unit for frequency. Okay, what do you remember? What is one more unit that you represent frequency in? Unit of frequency. Cycles per second is 1 unit. One more common unit that is referred for frequency. Frequency is measured in terms of you know the answer. Why are you not answering? Try to answer quickly. I shall write the short form for you. If you want, you can tell me the full form. Right? What is it? Someone tried to answer.
Hertz.
Hertz, right? Hertz. If you remember hertz, it is called as hertz. So for this particular example, wherein I told you 1,000 waves are passing through this section in 1 second. So it will be 1,000 hertz. So the frequency of that wave will be 1,000 hertz. Okay, 1,000 hertz or 1,000 cycles per second. Okay, what do you mean by cycle? Cycle is nothing but one wavelength. So the number of wavelengths that are passing through a particular point or a section in 1 second. Okay, in 1 second you have to measure. So that is meant by frequency. Okay. Coming to time period. Time period is nothing but inverse of frequency. Inverse of frequency is what is time period. Okay, so frequency is also equal to C by lambda. C by lambda, where lambda is your wavelength, C is velocity. C is velocity of your wave. C is velocity of wave, right? C is also velocity of light, right? Velocity of light. Can you tell me what is the velocity of light? Velocity of light, C. small c, velocity of light. Right, as I've told you, frequency is c by lambda. So c is a constant over here. C value does not change. That is the velocity of light. Lambda is wavelength, which will be depending upon the wave which we are using. Okay, what is the velocity of light? Can anyone tell me in meter per second? Very fundamental thing that you must know. Velocity of light. Wow, what is the velocity of light? Nobody knows here. PUC students are also here. Why are you not answering? You have learnt in your PUC, right? All these things. Same. Velocity of light. Nobody remembers? Okay, I shall give you a clue. I'll give you a clue. It is 3 into something. 3 into 10 power something. Now, 10 power?
10 power 8.
Are you sure?
8, sir.
Yes, sir.
10 power 8.
10 power 8. Correct. So velocity of light is 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. So you can just imagine in 1 second, it will travel 3 into 10 power 8 meters. 3 into 10 power 8 meters, it will travel in a second, right? So where in any other equation, in any other famous equation, if you remember where C is used, where this term C is encountered, in one famous equation is there wherein you will hear about this equation C. In that equation, you will encounter this C, velocity of light. I shall give you a clue if you want. It is stated or it is derived by Einstein. Albert Einstein has derived this equation, for which he didn't get the Nobel Prize. He got the Nobel Prize for the theory of relativity, but one famous equation. I shall give you a clue. It is starting with E is equals to something.
MC square.
Very good. E is equals to mc square, right? Wherein C is velocity of light. It is a constant thing, right? And this is mass and this is energy. Okay, so not related to surveying, but just some general things. Okay. So time period is done. Time period, then we shall learn regarding phase. We shall learn regarding phase. Phase is represented by this symbol phase. A phase. So to learn phase, let me move to the next slide. I hope you have understood what is meant by wavelength. Wavelength is represented by lambda. Time period T, capital T, and frequency small f. Okay, so time period will be given in seconds. Unit is seconds. Frequency is hertz, and wavelength is in meters. Usually in meters. Okay, wavelength. Okay, phase. Coming to phase. Here what we will do is I have drawn a simple sinusoidal wave. Okay, simple sine wave. This is time t. Okay, this axis is time t and this is nothing but amplitude. Amplitude, I hope you know amplitude, nothing but the height of that particular wave. Okay, one wavelength I have told you it is from one crest to the next consecutive crest, or it can be from here to here also. Okay, so after that is done, this is amplitude, this is time. Okay, so here you can see I have written phase, which is in degrees. Okay, phase is in degrees. And what we shall do is, because this is a sine wave, you just substitute these values in sine, all these values in sine, and tell me the values I shall write over here. Sine 0, sine 90, sine 180, sine 270, all these values, you just tell me, I shall write down. Sine 0 is what? Sine 0?
0.
0. Sine 0 is 0. Very simple. Sine 90?
1.
Right, sine 90 is 1. Okay, so what I'll do is, as I write down these, I shall plot. Okay, so consider these points are not there. Okay, these points A, B, C, D are not there with us. We have only these axis, okay, time axis and this amplitude. So at zero phase, at this is your phase. Okay, at zero phase, the this thing amplitude is zero. Okay, amplitude is zero. At 90-degree phase, the sine value is 1. Okay, so consider this as 1 and this as -1. So 1 I have marked over here. At the second point, at the second, this is 0 times 0, this is 1 second, this is 2 second, 3, 4, 5, okay, consecutive. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll join these two. Okay, I will join these two. Any in between point, if you want, you can substitute. You can substitute for sine 0.5, sine 0.75, like that. You can substitute, and then you can join A and B. You will find that it is a curve. It is not a straight line. Okay, at point C, at sine 180, what is the value sine 180? Answer is on your screen. Looking at the curve, you can answer.
0.
Correct, it is 0. Right, that I will mark over here. 0. Next, 270
-1.
-1. Correct, so -1 is here, so I have marked over here. So 1, you just go on joining like this. You can see that again it will be 0 and it will be +1 and again it will be 0 and so on. Right, so this is forming what? This is forming a sine wave. So this is forming the sine wave. If you want, you can plot for cos and you can check. You can plot the same thing. It will start from here. It will start like this. It will go. It will be the same value. Will be the same, but the start will be different. But the start will be just different. Okay, so it will start from here. Because sine 0 is 1, right? Sine 0 is 1. So it will start from here and it will continue like this in the same pattern. Okay, so here you can see we have some difference, right? So this difference is of 90 degrees, right? 90 degrees. So this is called the phase difference of these two waves. Phase difference, you can measure anywhere. You can measure here also, it will be 90 degrees. You can measure here also, it will be 90 degrees, right? So this is called the phase difference, and phase is represented here. You can see in degrees, 0, 90, 180, 270. This is the phase. And this phase difference, right? This phase difference is what is measured in your electronic distance measuring instrument, right? This phase difference, what is happening, right? That is measured and that is converted to distance. That is converted to distance or meters, right? First, it is converted to wavelength in fraction of wavelength, and then that wavelength is used to measure your distance. Okay, so this is just the basic idea of how your electronic distance measuring instrument works. Okay, so I hope you have understood what is electronic wave, what are the basic properties of your electronic waves, right? So we have learned regarding frequency, time period, phase difference, and also regarding amplitude, right? Okay. So moving on after this, so coming to electromagnetic spectrum. Okay, electromagnetic spectrum. So coming to electromagnetic, you can see I've shown you a wave over here at the top. You see a wave that is representing the wavelength. Okay, wavelength. So here you can see radio waves. This particular section is for radio waves. Radio waves, wherein you can see wavelength of radio waves is very large, right? It is in terms of meters, whereas gamma rays, X-rays, right? This particular section, gamma rays and X-rays, they are in terms of this nm, right? Nanometers. It is 10 power minus 10, 10 power minus 10. Very small wavelength we have, but these radio waves are having very large wavelength, right? That are used for what? They are used for radio and television, to broadcast radio and television, right? Your FM radio and your earlier we used to have also antenna TVs, wherein radio waves were used to transmit and broadcast radio and television things, right? Audio and video, they used to transmit through radio waves. Okay, so that is the first part, wherein the wavelength is very large. Then coming to microwaves, this section, microwaves, the wavelength is very similar, but slightly smaller than radio waves. right? And microwaves, all of us know they are used in microwave ovens, right? They are used also in mobile phones, right? Telephone and other signals are also passed by microwaves. Okay, so these are microwaves. Their wavelength is also large compared to other things. Okay, coming to infrared band over here, infrared band. You can see infrared is also having a wavelength which is large, but it is smaller than radio waves and microwaves. Okay, so infrared, we know it is used for heat, right? Infrared transmits heat from sun, fire, and radiators. Okay, infrared, you might have seen infrared cameras which are used to view in night time, right? Then visible light, this is the part which we are seeing. Okay, visible light, or you can see the rainbow spectrum of your colors which are visible to us, right? So whatever we see is within this range of the electromagnetic spectrum, right? So this entire thing is the electromagnetic spectrum, entire thing, and what we see through our eyes is only this part. Only this part is what is visible to us. All these other waves, all these radio waves, microwaves, infrared, ultraviolet, X-rays, these are not visible to our eyes, right? Can you see radio waves which are transmitted through the towers? No, right? They are not visible. Only this part is visible to us. Only this part of the entire spectrum is visible to us. So these are called as visible light. Okay, visible light spectrum. In this we have colors which you can see here, rainbow colors. Can you name these colors? Can you name these colors? Starting from here, it is violet. Next, indigo, violet, indigo. Then blue. Then we have green, right? Then we have yellow, orange, and then we have red. Correct? So these are your basic colors which you see in your rainbow. Okay, so this is what is forming your vision. All of your, whatever you are able to see is within this range. You are not able to see infrared, but if you see through your mobile phone, these infrared light will be seen through your mobile waves. So sorry, through your mobile phone camera, but not through your eyes, right? So microwave is also not seen through your eye, neither X-rays nor ultraviolet rays. Yeah, what we do is we instead protect ourselves from these ultraviolet rays. They are harmful to your skin and to your eyes, right? So you can see as we go down this spectrum, the wavelength decreases, right? The wavelength is going on decreasing, right? And these X-rays are, X-ray wire they used for, then gamma rays and all are used for, used for curing your cancer, right? It is used in medical purposes. Gamma rays, X-rays, beta rays, all these are very harmful to your body, right? So we stay away from all these radiations. X-rays, gamma rays, all these are not good for your health, right? They have very high penetrating power because their wavelength is very, very small. They can penetrate through anything. Okay. So this is just a brief idea giving you the entire spectrum of your electromagnetic radiation. Electromagnetic radiation. Now in detail, I shall show you here also in detail. We can see this is your color spectrum, right? This is your visible spectrum, right? And you can see red is having the highest wavelength, and as we go down like this, as we go up, you can see the wavelength is going on decreasing, right? Wavelength is going on decreasing. The red is having the highest wavelength, and here blue, indigo, violet are having the least wavelength. Okay, so if the wavelength is higher, it can travel larger distances, right? And if the wavelength is smaller, it does not travel large distances. So whenever you have a red light, right, you can see it from far away. But if the signal light is blue or any other color, you might not able to see it from far distance. Hence, all your bike lights, your signal lights, and any warning lights which need to be seen from far away are in red color. Because the wavelength is larger, it can be seen from the long distance. Because the wavelength is large, it can travel also large distances. Okay, so hence we do not go for these colors which are having shorter wavelength. Okay, so that is the principle for using red color often. Okay, so one more thing, wherever there is a large wavelength, the energy required is less. Okay, the energy carried, or the energy, potential energy in the wave, or the energy required to create this wave is also lesser. Okay, and whenever we have a high frequency or high, so smaller wavelength wave, the energy that is required is more, or the energy carried or the energy stored is also more, right? So that is one relationship between energy and wavelength. Okay, energy and wavelength are inversely proportional. Okay, so coming to the next thing. So why does this larger wavelength require more, lesser energy, and this smaller wavelength require higher energy? Because here you can see, if you want to create smaller wavelength, larger wavelength, you require lesser energy, right? You do not require more energy to create such large waves. But if you want to create many waves like this with high frequency, right, you require more energy. If you try with your skipping rope also, you will feel that you require more energy to create such waves, right, with high frequency or smaller wavelength. But for these large wavelength or less frequency, lesser energy is required, right? So that is the principle behind this more energy and lesser energy consumption. Okay, so this is regarding the basic things of your electromagnetic spectrum. Okay, so here is a one more image showing you the broad image of your electromagnetic spectrum. Here you can see this is the entire electromagnetic spectrum, and whatever we are able to see is only this much, right? So UV light, infrared, radio waves, all these waves are not seen by our eyes. Okay, so this is expanded over here and shown. Okay, you can see red is having higher wavelength, and as we go down here, you can see this wavelength is getting very short, right? Frequency is getting very high. Okay, so similarly, you can see that is having high energy, here it is having low energy. Okay, so with other uses also, I have told you X-rays, UV rays, infrared, radio waves, along with examples I have shown you in the previous slide. Okay, wavelength, you can see they have given here in meters. All these are in meters. Wavelength is in meters. Okay. Same concept with a different image. Okay, we are showing you the frequencies. Okay, showing you the frequencies instead of wavelength. Okay, we are showing you here the frequency. Okay, so here we have low frequency. Here you can see the value is very low, so it is low frequency wave, and here you can see it is 10 power 24, very high frequency. So these gamma rays, X-rays are very harmful for us. Okay, coming to the broad electromagnetic spectrum. Okay, if they ask you in the exam, you have to draw this electromagnetic spectrum and explain whatever I have told you up till now. Okay, so here in the top part, you can see they have written down the wavelength, and here at the bottom, the frequency is written. Okay, frequency. This is in hertz, and your wavelength is in meters. Okay, so your visible light, you can see, is in this part. This part represents your visible light. Then similarly, various other parts of the spectrum are also shown, right? Microwaves consist or takes a larger part of the spectrum. Microwave is taking up a large part. Visible light is very small, right? X-rays starts from here and goes on, okay, continues. Then similarly, long waves which are having very high wavelength, right? Very high wavelength. You can see wavelength is 10 power 4, right? 10 power 4 meaning 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is in meters, meaning this is one wavelength. One wavelength, you can see very long waves, right? The microwaves, then we have short waves, medium waves, and long waves. Similarly, we have infrared, visible light, violet, ultraviolet, UV light, what we call as ultraviolet, and then we have X-rays. Okay, so this is showing you the electromagnetic spectrum. So all these things is just a revision because you have studied this in your previous semester. Okay, so I hope up till here is clear, because in the next topic we shall start with distance measurement. So before we get into that topic, let me know whether you have any doubts in this particular part, whatever I have covered up till now. If you want to ask anything, if you have any doubts, you can ask. Okay, so if there is no doubt, I shall continue. Okay, coming to your electronic distance measurement into the core of this particular chapter. Electronic distance measurement, as the name suggests, it is nothing but using electronic instruments, right? Using electronic instruments to measure your distance indirectly, right? Without physically using chain or tape, we use electronic methods to measure the instrument between 2 points, right? So that is called as electronic distance measurement. Okay, so here you can see we have an electronic instrument, and here we have a reflector. So the electronic wave travels like this, it gets reflected back from this particular reflector, right? And the phase difference between these two waves is measured, right? And the time taken to travel is measured, and with this data we can directly calculate the distance between these 2 points, right? Between this point where the reflector is placed and the centroid of this particular point, so this distance is measured. Okay, so nowadays instead of this reflector, okay, instead of this particular reflector, right, and we do not require two persons nowadays. The instrument is very smart, you require only one person, right? Wherein what this person is not present, what this person will do is he will place the reflector wherever needed, like this he will place, and there will be a remote with him. He will press the button, and what this instrument will do is it will automatically change its direction, it will turn, and it will automatically focus here, and it will send the wave, and it will record the distance automatically. Then what the person will do is he will move to the second position, like this he will place the reflector here, and he will press the remote. You'll press the button, then for the instrument will automatically change its direction, focus on the prism, and it will take the reading and store it inside. Yes, nowadays that advanced instrument is also available, right? Wherein only one person is required instead of two. But the problem here in India is if the person is far away and taking the measurements, someone will come and they will take and carry away, and they will rob this particular instrument. So this instrument cannot be used in India because of this particular thing, right? So in foreign, like in Saudi and in your Arab countries, these particular instruments are very much used, right? Construction is very advanced. In construction, they use very advanced instruments, right? In particularly in your Arabic countries. So wherein you shall in the YouTube, if you search for this tutorials, you will find tutorials of these Arabic people only. So wherein yeah, in India usually we not use these electronic instruments much, but in your advanced countries this electronic measurement is usually used. Okay. Then coming to actually how the measurement is done in your instrument. So here this particular instrument is your transmitter. Okay, this particular instrument is the transmitter, wherein the generation of your wave occurs. The wave is generated and it is transmitted. Okay, it is transmitted after the wave is generated. You can see it is transmitted and it is received by the receiver, which is here. This is the receiver, this is A is the transmitter, this is the receiver. Okay, so we have generation of the wave, then we have transmission, we have propagation of the wave, then we have receiving of the wave. Okay, all these are coming under the same part. Okay, so we have we have first generation of wave, transmission, propagation, and then receiving. Okay, so all this process is what is done in the measurement. Okay, so here you can see the this thing is passed, wave is propagated like this, right? And the timer is started. Okay, when the instrument when the transmitter sends the wave, right? As soon as it sends, the timer is started. And when this particular wave is reached or when it is received by the receiver, the timer is stopped. Okay, so the time taken by the wave to travel from A to B or from the transmitter to receiver is noted down. The time taken is noted down, right? And then the velocity is known, right? C is known, C is fixed, right? The velocity of a wave is fixed, 3 into 10 power 8, it is known. And then we can calculate distance, right? Distance, velocity by time. will give you distance. Velocity is nothing but c. Velocity is c. Time taken is measured, right? Time taken t is measured. If you substitute v by t, you will get the distance, right? So that is the principle, basic principle behind your idiom, basic principle. Okay, so time is measured and the velocity is known of the wave. You just velocity, you divide velocity by the time taken, you can get directly the distance. Okay, so here the main problem here is the timer is the time is very difficult to measure, right? Because it is in terms of 10 power minus 6. So we require very advanced technology or very advanced instrument to measure this time in this small fraction, right? So to measure this time, it is very difficult, right? So what we do is instead of this receiver, what we do is we transfer this receiver in the transmitter itself, right? So the transmitter and the receiver is a single instrument. Transmitter and the receiver is a single instrument, and instead of this here, what we do, we place a reflector, right? We place a reflector like this. We hold a reflector over here, right? So instead, what it does is the wave, it will get propagated, it will get reflected back, right? It will get reflected back and it will be received, right? So now what we do is instead of measuring the time, what we do is we measure the phase difference, right? As I've told you, we measure the phase difference. In this particular figure over here, there is no phase difference, right? But sometimes what will happen is after it gets reflected, it will get the phase difference will occur, right? You can see I have drawn over here with a phase difference of 90 degrees. Phase difference of 90 degrees. So this phase difference between the transmitted wave and the received wave is measured, right? And this phase difference is expressed in terms of fraction of wavelength, right? This phase difference is converted to wavelength, and once you know the wavelength, you can convert that to the distance, right? So this is the principle that is used in your idiom. Okay, not the time distance, or not the time. It is the phase difference that is measured instead of time. Okay, so this is the principle that is used. Okay, so remember this, the phase difference is used, not the time. Okay. So what is this diagram showing here is nothing but the same diagram B. Okay, so here it is showing this is the transmitted wave, this is the transmitted wave. And then from B to A, this is nothing but the reflected wave, which is this wave, reflected wave, right? That is shown over here as a continuation. Okay, so D and D dash. So D plus D dash will give you the total distance. Okay, distance traveled by the wave is D plus D dash. D plus D dash is the distance traveled by the wave because it has to go and again it has to come back. So total distance is D plus D dash. That is the distance traveled by the wave. Okay, not the distance between the 2 points. It is the distance traveled by the wave. Okay, so all these principles are used to calculate the distance between 2 points A and B. Okay, remember phase difference is used to calculate the distance between 2 points A and B. Okay. So modulation, regarding modulation and all this, we shall cover in the next class. So this is your modulation, which I'll explain in the next class. Modulation we are left out with modulation, and then regarding the types of electronic distance measurement instruments. Okay, these are a few instruments in your idioms. So we shall study this in the next class. Okay, so if you have any doubts regarding the basic principles of idiom or regarding electromagnetic spectrum or any other thing regarding electromagnetic waves, you can ask. Okay, so here I have explained briefly, and in detail you can read in the textbook, which I'll be sending later, right? Textbook you can read for in-depth understanding. Okay, so if you have any doubts you can ask, and meanwhile you can give attendance. Okay, make sure you give your attendance before leaving the session. Okay, so if you have given your attendance and you have no doubts, you can exit the session, no problem. Everyone give your attendance quickly.